Oh my God, what am I doing? I thought I ended it. That was the final episode, right? You know what? I was just kind of feeling inspired. So, coming to you live from the great state of Louisiana, here in these crazy United States of America, located on this planet we call Earth, that is spinning out of control in this crazy universe we call life. How are you all doing today? Yes, this is episode 132, and it's for the love of movies that saved it and brought one more episode on. Look, I started, oh my God, the train is coming. Can you hear the train? The chickens, the life. I'm not talking about like, this is the life. I'm talking about just life in general. Just so many things, so much energy just moving about you. Vibrations of sound and everything. Really think about vibrations. Frequencies, the vibrations. It's all connected. Anyway, we're not going to get into that topic because I think we delved into that one pretty good in the final episode, because I really believe in energy in a tremendous amount of way. As something that we truly don't understand completely because of ancient civilizations and their uses of it and how they did the things that they did that we can't even fucking do today. Those are some very deep thought questions right there. You really have to break open the imagination bottle to really start thinking of ways that they could have done it, the things that maybe even you possibly believe that couldn't be done, because obviously they were. And we're living in a mechanical age, which I don't think ever existed on this planet before. So we're gonna leave our remnants behind, but it's all gonna be rusted. Anyway, one of the glorious things about our civilization is our form of entertainment and the way that movies are created. Like I said, this is a movie podcast. Really, it is. But I mean, it wasn't supposed to be another podcast. So, for the love of movies, I was thinking about the movie Aladdin. It all spawned from a TikTok that I made. By the way, I would suggest you, yes, follow me on TikTok if you want some hilarious gaming content, because I love playing Fortnite, but because I do play Fortnite and it's interactive with every genre of movies and entertainment, that it kind of goes right along with how my mind works. One big universe of just fun and games, right? I mean, Fortnite is more than a battle royale game. Just a little shout out to Fortnite. The other day, I was just on the opening menu screen, and the suggested games which is only like maybe 8 or 7 across the screen, maybe even 6, but they had over 1 million just playing those games. And then there are like hundreds more. Battle modes, game modes, festive modes, Lego racing. It's more than a battle royale game. But that is the main primary focus I love to play it for. So if I want to play as a banana, or if I want to play as Spider-Man, or if I want to play as John Wick, or even Indiana Jones, or Han Solo, Darth Vader, I mean, really, Predator, RoboCop, Terminator, the list goes on. It's Eminem. How can you not love a game that just capsulates all the things that you kind of like, in this weird little world? Even though it's hard to imagine Superman using a gun and not being able to fly, but, whatever. Suspend belief and have the imagination go wild, right? And so that's why the game continuously keeps me interested, unlike other games where there is an end or a move on and you can only play the same thing over and over. And this game, there is no over and over. At some point, the game will change everything about it, and little ups here and there, and next thing you know, 2 years later, you're not playing the same game you were playing 2 years ago. And I love that kind of evolution, and it's very entertaining. So, but my love for movies is where they hooked me in, okay? Like playing as Michael Myers is an amazing gaming aspect in any format. I'm expecting Freddy Krueger next year, or Jason, So there's still things to come. But my love for movies is even greater than my love for gaming. And if I had the choice to whether I need to relax for the afternoon, as much as I love getting into a game, if I really wanted to relax, then I would pop in a good movie. All right. And it could be one I've seen 1,000 times, or it could be something for the very first time. And I kind of alternate between those. I have to be in the mood for a first-time film because they release so many that I get to the feeling that I've watched this before. It's just done a little differently with different people. And I just feel like I'm kind of wasting my time. Which brings me to my point of the podcast, which is what to do with the movie cinema theater. What is so magical about that it has still stuck around? And even though it is a much different experience than it used to be in 3D, the surround sound, the audio, the reclining chairs now in the theaters, I mean, it's like, really gone the extra step here and there, but it's still a magical experience that has survived the test of time, even though I really do miss the dollar cinemas, the home run local town cinemas, drive-in movie theaters. I believe there is more that can be done with that, and this is an idea that could possibly either build that back or save what is left, and that is stop remaking movies. You heard me. Okay, and here's why. Granted, there is some movies that I agree that could be remade that were horribly done before, and very popular. But if you have a very iconic film, let's say Aladdin. I just want to go with that because that's an all-around. No one dislikes the cartoon Aladdin. 1992, I believe. 1992 or 93. I think it was 93. I think they always come out at Christmas, so it always rolls into the next year. Because obviously Lion King was summer of 94. That was a big deal, and I remember that very vividly. But the year before, it was the Aladdin theme, so you had that run with Aladdin, and they have remade both movies, real life versions or whatever. But what you could have done, in my opinion, is you could have just re-released the original film in the theater experience for a long run, and just make your money that way and not spend so much money to remake something that you are never going to recreate. You can try it. Now, I believe with the technology we have today and the advancement that it's pacing at, we're going to get to a point where you could make continuations of classic films in the very tone and feeling that those original films were made in, such as The Shining, for example. I know everybody knows the great horror movie by Stanley Kubrick called The Shining, and oh my God, Jack Nicholson's performance, of course, in this movie was the iconic. That has anything Jack Nicholson does is hard to beat. I'm sorry, he's top notch, and I dare you to go back and find anyone better, really. And there is a few I could argue with, but it's hard to beat Jack Nicholson. Okay, but what I love about that movie, or any movie that he's ever done, is like how you're going to continue. Like they did the movie Dr. Sleep. Movie recommendation, Dr. Sleep. It is where the little boy's grown up and from The Shining, and he comes in contact with a young girl who has the Shining as well, and how there's an evil force about that has a undertone of what people call conspiracy theories here today, but something that Stanley Kubrick is known for is putting things in movies that he knew about. He had so much creative control over his movies. That's why they were so controversial in the times when they came out, like Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket, movies like that, Dr. Strangelove. I mean, you can't go wrong there, right? And the topics they dealt with is something that the establishment wouldn't really want him to do. Eyes Wide Shut, I believe, is the movie that got him killed. If you've never seen it, it stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Was cut up for the first time. None of his films were ever edited or whatever. If they had to release it as NC-17, then that's what they did. When Jack Nicholson set the tone like Stanley Kubrick did in The Shining, you have to remember when they make a sequel, 30, 40 years later, how are you going to capture that tone? And Dr. Sleep came about as close as I ever seen do it. And it was such an iconic film, too. But to me, movies like Aladdin, the live-action remake, and things like that, I don't know. I can't express myself enough to where I would have rather just watched the original in the movie theater again, have that experience again. Who wouldn't love to? I would have loved to have seen Top Gun, the original Top Gun, in the movie theater. I missed out on that, so I would love to experience that in a movie theater. Whenever they do old releases of movies, they only do it one night a week out of a week or a weekend or something like that. I caught Raiders of the Lost Ark in the theaters again, and just brought back so many memories of a child when I first got to see it in the theater. I remember the first time as a child. Seriously, 1974 is when I was born. 1977. I was only maybe 3. I could have been 4 because Star Wars stayed in the movie theaters for a very long time, and I want to swear it was at $1 cinema. And I was holding someone's hand, of course. I was 3, but I was walking. And I remember us going down the dark corridors because it's $1 cinema, so everything's dim and dark. There's not bright lights and all that. This is also 1977. It's kind of countrified out here in Louisiana, and imagine how countrified it would have been in 1977. So anyway, here I am being held by the hand, walking down this dark corridor, and there's these doors, and you open them up, and it's just complete blackness, and then everything illuminates because of the X-Wing fighter that flies across the screen, and there's these lasers shooting everywhere, and everybody's like, yeah, and it's like walking into I don't know, it was an experience. And as a 3 or 4 year old, because I'm pretty sure it probably would have been 4. No, I would give it probably 3. But anyway, at that young age, I was that imprinted by Star Wars. That was amazing to see that whole huge thing. And that's the love of movies. That's where that was born. That is my earliest memory of a movie experience, is seeing that. And I remember seeing other movies, like I also remember the Nights Went Out in Georgia. I'm insane. I went and saw a lot of movies as a kid, even adult movies, because my grandmother had to keep me out of the house. My grandfather worked nights, so during the day he slept. And if it was summertime, that's the reason why I cried my eyes out in 1986 when I saw Optimus Prime die in Transformers, the cartoon. And it was just a whole theater of crying little boys, all right? Because you just broke everybody's heart. And what a insane way to introduce a whole new toy line. I mean, come on, you bring a bunch of kids who fell in love with your Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and Ironside, that's a movie actor, but Ironhide, Brawn, Jazz, just so many Megatron, Starscream, insane. But and then in the first 15 minutes of this cartoon that you're going to get to enjoy for the next hour and a half, they kill every single fucking one of them. They really do. They annihilate the entire. They keep Bumblebee. Bumblebee was the most popular one. So Bumblebee lives along with the human, and then they find a whole brand new younger race of Transformers, and they go on to become, but you get the old boss, but he gets destroyed and recreated, and so he's kind of the same, because you can't outdo Megatron. And they thought they're going to just get rid of Optimus Prime. And I was like, wow, that's... I don't know about you, but the rest of the movie kind of sucked after that because they knew it too. They knew the kids wouldn't care about anything after all. The whole first 15 minutes is like the best drawn animated stuff I've ever watched as a child. And then the rest of the movie was just a blur because I was just traumatized by the death of Optimus Prime. And that is a very imprintable movie experience. And that was just shortly after you got through watching as a kid Return of the Jedi in the movie theaters recently, because like I said, movies would run for about a year. If they were that E.T., I could not tell you the theatrical run E.T. had. Oh my God, the insanity of the merchandise, the dolls, the toys. It was insane. It was insane, folks. I'm not lying. It was great. The power of HBO on cable, having movies at home. I remember watching Star Wars for the first time at the house, and as a child, I just sat in front of that TV. I never moved. Then Atari came along. By the way, the Pong game, the very first console I can think of ever. I had an Atari, but the Commodore was the first actual gaming console, in my opinion. But Atari was the first successful one. Then Nintendo came along, and yeah, the rest is history. Now then I think the Xbox, PlayStation was the next step up, but Nintendo just found their niche, and they're riding that motherfucker out, and they're taking it to the limits, but it will never be that step above to where Xbox. Could you imagine Nintendo at the Xbox, PlayStation level of graphics and creativity, and not limited to that one layer? It's like they're trying to make something new out of everything, I don't know. We'll see. Nintendo's brilliant. We'll see what they do down the road. But that's gaming. See, I told you, the entertainment value of my life is all mental. And because my life I associate to so many movies I watched as a child, and shows and TV, The Jeffersons, All in the Family, Three's Company, Cheers when you got older, and stuff like that. But when you had the original Nick at Night, where you got all the black and white shows like Mr. Ed and Donna Reed Show, My Three Sons, those kind of things like that. And then the Brady Bunch, all those kind of shows. And so when you watch life roll around you, it is really like a bunch of mini episodes, because you realize all these stories that are told through movies and the things you see are stories from someone else's lives. Maybe a little exaggerated, and this is how it could have been instead of this is how it actually was. But, that's the poetry in it. You don't want to go watch real life in a movie theater. You want to go experience the best version of it. And that's my love of movies, because it takes that imagination to the limit. And if done right, you don't need to blur it out with more remakes and blah, 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 blah. Just take what's there and remaster it and make it into perfection. And with the technology today, continue the story. But I don't know. Hollywood's just gotten so replicated. It's insane. Don't get me wrong, but when you look at the Hallmark, every year the Hallmark Channel has new romantic Christmas movies coming out about the single wife, the woman finding the man of her dreams at Christmas time every fucking year. And literally like 10 new ones per year. That, and if you add all, like, the history of those, that's insanely stupid. And when you look at it, when you scroll through the covers, they all just kind of like fade into one. So much money being wasted on that kind of stuff, in my opinion. I think the movie industry could give a lot back to the American public, or maybe the movie industry. So much money's being made there. The people that perform actually still, or their likeness given, should be paid more. I agree with that. There's a lot of money in Hollywood. So even though it sounds like, as a poor motherfucker, I shouldn't even support a millionaire actress, whatever, but if that's how much money they're making, it's because it's Brad Pitt in the fucking movie, or if it's because it's Julia Roberts in the fucking movie, then that's the reason why I watched it. I was like, well, Julia Roberts is in it. Right there, she earned the entire fucking amount of money I would have contributed to the film. And you owe it to her. So there you go. It's just an honest opinion. But there's so many people that work on the movies. And I think that pay rate, just like the average grocery store worker. Well, these grips and stuff can't, afford rent off their jobs here on the movie set. Well, neither can the guy that's checking out down at Kroger either. I mean, that part I can't help you with, Money's where the money is, right? So, movies has gotten a little out of control. But I do love the TV series and the creativity in the TV. I've always wondered why they never invested in TV shows as much as they did movies, but we're living in a better age where anybody can create a movie from home, basically, if they have the right software. It just depends how hokey it looks. But the story is still there, and sometimes that's gripping enough to keep you in, right? And that's what great content's all about. So, if you're a huge Shining fan, just to revert back to some of the good little hints over this last podcast, check out Dr. Sleep for the sequel. I promise you won't be let down. And yes, it will open a rabbit hole that you may not want to know about. And when you see the scene in particular of the energy being consumed in this film, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it, then it'll horrify you for a minute. I had to pause the movie and really take in because I almost felt like this is real. Like this is based on some real shit that I hear things about today. Like the Epstein, yes, Epstein, I said it. So Dr. Sleep, definitely check it out. Kubrick has always had a message, and I think there's some people out there that are willing to continue the story and show the very meaning of art imitates life as life imitates art. Stanley Kubrick was a genius. Any film with his name on it, I recommend you watch it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Full Metal Jacket, best war movie ever made. It has to be. It has to be, just for the basic training scenes at the beginning alone, much less how it carries out to the end. Platoon, I would put right up there in second. That's a tough pick right there. I'm sorry, but it really is. And by the way, the number one Western of all time for me. I know there's good, bad, and the ugly and all that kind of stuff, but Tombstone. And you just tell me a better Western. A better iconic Western than that film right there. That's the movie. I don't know how that never got a sequel, but I'm glad it didn't, because that's what made that movie still a legendary movie to watch today. Because you're not going to find, what's the second one? No, it's just this movie. Really? That's it? Well, we need to watch it again. Make that movie experience about again. That's all I'm saying. Stop the remakes. Just do it again. All right, that's my movie advice. Maybe some producers will hear that out there and stop spending their money on stupid shit and just re-release the movies, make the movie experience more. Make it its money's worth. Right now, you're not making its money's worth. Sorry. That whole experience can be better, and I believe that that's a whole industry that can be built back onto even at the dollar level. Yeah, for the poor guy. Duh. What do you think of that? Look. I want people that want to pay $50 for a movie, get that full 4D experience, whatever the fuck you want out of it. But if I can pay $1 to see it 6 months later, but still in a movie theater, even if it's just on a big screen in a small auditorium, I'll take that. Because that's where my love began. I love it today. Don't take me wrong. Not knocking it. Loving every minute. When I see a 3D movie or anything like that, it's overwhelmingly awesome. So glad I'm alive. But I still miss the small auditorium. Remember, love and laughter is the only thing that conquers hate and fear. So go be a conqueror out there. Don't be a victim. And yes, there will be another. Later.